Other show on TST, back to sports after a nice little streak of interviews and getting to spotlight some artists. Going back to our roots a little bit, looking at Ohio Valley sports and national sports in general. We don't have our co-host Scott here. Sadly, he was a little sick. First thing I was going to bring up to kind of get in his head immediately in this episode was LeBron James is almost to 50K points.
That's insane.
And which game do you think he's going to get that in? Let me go to Lakers schedule.
What's he sitting at now?
Let's see.
Because that'd be playoffs and regular season combined.
Career points, I guess.
Yeah, career.
Yeah, I was hoping to see Scott for that exact reason as well. I was hoping they'd bring up the Luka trade.
There it
and
is.
Get going down that rabbit hole.
Oh, he only needs 131 more points.
131.
I'd give him
5 games.
I was gonna say 5-6 games at the. I
I was
mean,
going to see, here they are right here.
I could see him doing it.
Oh, where's that? Where's that? At Knicks or at Lakers?
That's. I think that might be at Lakers.
Right down here.
Yeah. Yeah,
Lakers.
I can see it being that
Right
game
there.
right there. Yep. I mean, that's just.
What's that say about his legacy? 50K points. Is he the GOAT?
I mean,
Can we just rest this case?
he's been to be able to do it that long is impressive. And it's not like everybody's like, even myself for the last like 10 or 5 years, it's like everybody once they get up there, they hit like a wall and they start like his decline is he's still averaging 25, 8, and 8 instead of 27, 8, and 8, and he's
Yeah.
still efficient. And honestly, I think the trade with Luka might extend his career a little. Another, I don't know, I wouldn't say a little, like a year or two, just because if he games, he can just be like, here, Luka, take the ball, and he can play more off ball and doesn't have to be the main guy. I mean, with AD, it was the same thing, but he still had to handle the ball more. Now he doesn't even, he can just play off ball and be a cutter and like a role player at times when he needs to be.
It's kind of like how he was in Miami.
Yeah.
He's just like rejuvenated. You can tell he's
Yep.
got a little bounce in his step.
And he's mentoring his son at the same time, which is
Yeah.
wild. How is he doing? Do you guys think he
He's
Kinda
killing
filled
it
that
in
role.
the G
I was
League.
gonna say
Yeah.
G League, he's looking good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough. I mean, he doesn't really play much in the NBA, but I mean, especially for him, I think you're LeBron's son. You didn't have a great college career. I mean, he had that heart thing or whatever it was, but
Yeah.
everybody's like he shouldn't get drafted, this and that. So I mean, the amount of pressure on him alone is ridiculous. So I mean, the way he's playing in the G League looks good, and they showed his numbers against like some of like the top guys in the league. I don't think he'll ever be like a superstar like LeBron, but he could turn into a decent role player.
I think he'd have to really shape himself up to be a top one.
Yes, yes.
Come out the G League as
Yeah.
a one. And
Yep.
Take that point guard role in the
Yep.
NBA.
Because he's not super big, but you can tell he has the passing ability and he can shoot a little bit.
Right.
He does have that one advantage of having like all the tools that his dad has now that probably didn't get started with all that longevity exercises that LeBron
Yep,
does.
that is true.
I know there's so many, especially UFC fighters, that are just following LeBron's just his courses to a T of like what is that, the sensory deprivation tanks every day,
Yeah.
ice baths. Everybody's doing that now. I think it was Conor McGregor that said like he just follows him
Yeah.
to a T of what to do
To be able to play that long, they say like LeBron spends like what millions of dollars just on his body a year, and I mean LeBron's son, or Bronny's like he's got his dad, who's arguably one of the best players ever, if not the best, and Luka, who's could be up there as well when he's done to look after, and they both play like kind of his positions. Like
Yeah.
Luka's a point guard, LeBron's a point forward.
Yeah.
So I mean, they both handle the ball a lot and passing. So I mean, he's got two of the best you could possibly ask for to look after and like try to mimic his game after, which could help him in the long run.
For me though, LeBron has been the GOAT in my eyes. It's just like, I mean, he's given guys 40 points that could be sons of guys he played with when he first came into the league. It's like
That's nuts.
in the '90s, like that, or late '80s, early '90s, they love to say, "Well, it was physical, it was physical, it was physical."
Yeah.
But to me, it's like them guys didn't have to move their feet.
Yeah.
Like, these guys in the league now are so skilled at the game of
Yeah.
basketball.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And if you look at like the distance traveled like per time now, it just how much more they're moving, how much
pace,
faster they're
yeah.
the pace of it all compared back then.
Yeah, because I mean, back then you did have talented players, like some of the better players ever.
Right.
Like you had Jordan and Magic and Bird and all. But it's like I feel like nowadays, the role players, like the bench guys and the fourth, fifth option on team, they are like studs.
Yeah.
Like back then you had like maybe one shooter per team.
Right.
Now you have 4 or 5 guys that if you leave them open, they'll hit 4 or 5 threes, no problem. And it's just the athleticism of guys. And it's like, well, they're like, you don't have the help defense or this and that. And it's like, because you can't really do help
Right.
defense, because if you help, you're leaving a dude wide open and he'll burn you from 3 repeatedly. It's just a different game. And to be able to do it, everybody's like, well, his stats are this and that because of longevity. I mean, like, yeah, but that's still impressive to be able to do it for that long.
And he was the fastest of any player to each milestone that he's hit. So it's not just like it's not really a longevity thing when you're the fastest to each milestone.
Yes.
And then the teams that he played against, like that Warriors team that he went, was that 3 series in a row?
Yeah.
Like, that's the greatest team ever assembled.
Yeah.
And,
That's just not fair. It's not a fair team.
That was probably the greatest moment consuming Cleveland sports. I'd
Yeah,
say
I-
it was that series.
And I mean, heck, he played against arguably one of the best dynasties ever in the Spurs 3 times as well.
Right.
I mean, you had Parker, Ginobili, and Duncan, who arguably could go down as the best trio
Right.
ever in basketball. So, I mean, he had his work cut out for him, but
You got to think, every series that he's really lost in the championships has been against 7-foot guys who are skilled as anybody on the basketball floor.
yeah.
Whether it been Dirk or Durant or
Duncan.
Duncan is.
There's 2 series that I've watched, or 2 like playoff runs that I watched in NBA I can really remember. I was really invested. It was that run when they beat the Warriors, and the one where they lost to the Spurs. I remember they played that Detroit team right before that. That was a really good
Detroit
series.
won it the year before.
Who's the guy in the mask? I always remember.
Rip Hamilton.
Yeah.
Rip Hamilton.
Yeah, I always remember that team.
Those Detroit teams were underrated.
Yeah.
They had
They were
Chauncey.
tough.
Yeah.
They were tough in the era where toughness was kind of phasing out.
Yeah.
Remember, that was the era of basketball where I just remember that there was a PS2 game, NBA Ballers Phenom, and the 2 best players that you can get stat-wise on that game was Chauncey Billups and Ludacris. That was like the 2 unlockable characters. So I mentioned this to you guys that we had a fan-submitted question
Yeah.
for sports and sports broadcasting. Now, we're not professional sports broadcasters, but we kind of are in our own right, starting out to be.
Yeah.
So if we could do this, looking at any era of sports, any team, any time, or anything of that nature, what would you guys like to watch and commentate on, just be a part of from that booth, being able to call it?
Oh, man.
Before I answer this question, I would like to say this is probably the best viewer submitted question.
Yeah, it was good. It's very good. Yeah, we've had some where it was just like, if you woke up and you were naked in the middle of the High Valley Mall,
What would you do?
yeah. What time would you like to just be in that box, like commentating, screaming along with your fellow commentator analyst?
So, like you said, like an era.
Yeah, or era, like a team, like you like.
Okay.
I don't know, what was that Bears team? Was it the 89 Bears or
Yeah,
something like that? Was
85 Bears.
85 Bears. Did you like see them or?
I think I think back in the 80s with Magic and Bird would have been sweet because they played what was like 4 out of 5 years in the finals, and you almost knew it was those 2 teams,
Right.
and they went. I mean, you had Bird, Magic, McHale, Kareem, like some of the best players ever going against it. And you had like that storyline of Bird and Magic meeting in college
Yeah.
in the championship. And it just kind of, I mean, that honestly probably brought NBA basketball back to life a little bit because they were dying down a little. I think that would have been pretty cool to cover and see, because that's when I really think NBA popularity started like really picking up, and just that rivalry. And it was like a rivalry of respect. Like
There's more and more like larger than life characters coming out.
Yeah, and I think that would have been really cool to cover. I mean, back then media wasn't huge.
Yeah.
Like it is now. You don't have all social media and all that, but that would have been pretty cool to cover, I think.
Yeah.
For me, I got two. I'd say the first one would be piggybacking off of the LeBron situation when they were down 3-1 to the Warriors, and that'd have been a crazy series to cover. And I would say just the era, as far as era goes, when Messi and Ronaldo were battling with Barcelona and Real Madrid. Oh, those would have been crazy games to see.
Yeah.
Because soccer fans are something else.
Worldwide, too, yeah.
Or something.
You know what you were saying had weight all throughout the world, too, when you were commenting on that.
Yeah, that would have been cool to see.
Who's the juggernauts in soccer right now? I mean, who's
the top players? The only ones I think it still is Ronaldo and Messi still up there. I know there's one guy from, like Mbappe, I think from France is good.
Yeah.
But I think it's still Ronaldo and Messi after all these years. They're still.
Well, the team would be PSG. But it depends on what league you're looking at. Messi's in the States though. He's down in Miami.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah, he's in was it MLS?
Yeah. And I think Ronaldo's in Saudi. He's getting a check right now.
He's making money. Soccer's or football, whatever. Football, soccer, they make my.
You always see Ronaldo now at like front row at UFC events with the Saudis hanging out. They're always together at the biggest events.
I seen that they were wanting to mimic the MLS seasons to go along with the Euro seasons, which should be interesting because it's going to be really cold.
That's true.
But it's going to be nice, I think, just for visibility for the MLS worldwide. For them to go hand in hand with the seasons.
Do you have some junk in your trunk? Do you have some junk in your basement? Do you have some junk in your garage? Well, we're proud to announce that there is a new company to the Ohio Valley offering a special discount for our listeners that can handle that problem for you. Rhino Dumpsters and Services. They're based out of Martins Ferry, Ohio, and provide affordable and reliable dumpster rentals for all your needs in the Ohio Valley. Dumpster size is 15 cubic yards, and they can be used for residential or job site cleanups. You fill it, they haul it. Perfect for home renovations and house cleanouts. And as a special bonus for all 10 String Tavern listeners, you can call and get 10% off this month, February, and next month of March. Call or text them today to schedule your rental at 740-827-6533 or 740-391-0582. Check them out at Rhino Dumpsters and Services, LLC on Facebook. Flipping sports, I'm sure you guys saw, we were talking about the other day, when USA came up to play a Canadian team and
I don't think I've watched a hockey game this year, but I'll tell you what, I was on the edge of my couch.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know the championship game, and I was sitting there screaming and yelling. I mean, that was to have that as an all-star game type thing was so cool to see.
Right.
And it brought they said that was one of the highest watched games, including their championship.
Right.
Like the Stanley Cup.
Or something like that.
Yeah, it was insane. I'm like,
and that was just US. That wasn't counting Canada.
It was cool to watch. And they said some of those guys were injured, and when their regular season team started back up, they'd be setting because they were injured so bad.
Right.
But they just came out fighting right off the rip. What was it, like 3 fights in 10 seconds or something?
I was telling Jake this is probably the greatest thing that this presidency has done. This regime has done was have other countries hate us, especially this
some international conflict that we all can enjoy.
Competition that we can get down with.
Yeah, because they were booing the national anthem. They came out swinging. Oh, it was cool to see. They said that was like Canada's first loss in like 27
Really?
straight mat or like games or whatever.
The first one.
The first one, yeah. But I mean, they were both great games, and
Yeah, I see the Disney Plus in the background.
yeah,
It's awesome that they were covering it. I seen a lot of fan activity.
I mean, I saw what was it? It was the championship game. There was like 3 guys dressed up as Benjamin Franklin, just
Really?
screaming and yelling. They were going nuts. But they were talking, and then I saw the one guy was talking about, I forget what his name was. He was he was a retired hockey player, and he was talking about why the NBA can't do it and stuff like that. And he's like, it starts with the players. Like if you don't want to play that hard,
Yeah.
like those hockey guys, they're a different animal. Because I'm like, that's their all-star break. They can kind of like do the stuff, rest. Nah, they're coming out fighting and swinging and getting hurt, and they don't care because I mean,
and it's not a sport where it's like
you can't really go half speed in hockey, or you're gonna get. I feel like you're gonna get hurt if you do.
I mean, hockey's not a sport where it's like fighting promotional, where like if you do have this brawl, it's going to help you get more views and stuff like that. They just didn't. They just wanted to fight.
It was. Yeah, I saw I forget the Chuck brothers or whatever. They had like a group message like, "Hey, we're gonna come out swinging it right off rip." Like they had it planned,
Right.
And it was just fun to watch. That was like the first hockey because the Pens are down a little bit this year. I usually try to keep up with them, but I was like, But I saw that and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna watch it. Boy, it was worth it.
I'm looking at the upcoming UFC fights. That Pereira will be a good one.
The Prayer Ankalaev, yeah, it'll be a good one. I saw Izzy got beat again recently.
Got beat. It was so crazy that Izzy was on a fight night.
Yeah, that was.
Even if he's not champion anymore, he's headlined so many. Like,
Yes,
I can't remember what was the one right after. And I was telling my brother, like, if you looked at the stars at the fight night that Izzy headlined, you would have thought that was the pay per view, other than because there was a title fight on the last pay per view, but it just didn't seem like
yeah.
it was the Strickland.
Yeah, Strickland and
Duplessis. And they have to be like kind of low in popularity because anytime those two fight, the UFC does a $20 off promotion.
Really?
For that, yeah.
I didn't get to watch that one, but I saw Strickland's nose was like crooked or something.
Yeah, immediately. And I think it was from like a headbutt. We'll have to do a UFC stream one night. Those are just events that you just pray for like knockouts every single time. That way you're not leaving this house at like 2
in the morning.
Sometimes. I think the last time we had it, we all watched it. It was like 1:45. We all got up, ate a little bit of ice cream. Everybody left my house, and I was in bed by like
you had your homemade ice cream.
How was that? I said,
it was amazing.
I sent you home with some.
I'm not gonna lie, I ate it that night when I got home. 2
2
a.m. ice cream. It was good.
I got Kaylee and I ordered 2 industrial bags of pints and half pints of ice cream, so we've been handing them out.
Yeah, that should be a good fight. The Pereira Ankalaev.
What's nuts is how old he is. Pereira?
Yeah, because he's only been in the UFC for what 3 years maybe. But he was in that kickboxing for forever.
Yeah, 37.
That's insane.
He's hitting like the height of his popularity.
He's the same age as John Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's insane. And his like, because I remember they were talking about everybody was hyping him up, and it was like his second fight ever. I'm like, who is this guy?
Yeah,
and he went like 3 fights, title fight, won it, and just blown everybody out since. I'm like, his rise was so fast.
The first time he fought, I think Rogan was a commentator, and he was just saying it seemed like he was the only one that was aware of who he was.
Yeah,
he just kept saying like he can't stand up in front of him, can't stand in front of him,
and he knocks up.
He knocks like it did a knee shot, knocked him out.
He's
ridiculous.
Yeah, he's good.
I was thinking about having the 100th episode stream, and I think we're on like 62 right now, so it might be a year from now, but we could get a 2-year stream in a couple months. We have to think of something.
That'd be
a little
sweet.
party.
Get
1 or 2 artists to come in and do like a live performance.
That'd be sweet.
Something. do like a video game stream of something.
Like a 24-hour.
Yeah.
What they used to do, like that marathon, the
marathon, yeah.
telephone or whatever.
Yeah. That'd be hilarious. Do like a little pledge goal.
Yeah.
Or something like that. However many Fortnite wins or something.
We
Like,
could get.
Right.
We'll just see setting cheering Ben on in the background. Come on, Ben. You got it.
There's so much random stuff that you can fit in 24 hours.
yeah, there is.
That'd be
And
sweet.
like from a production standpoint, I don't think it would be hard at all as long as we had like somebody being in control of like the the influx of people and
Yeah.
like scheduling like in the background watching the stream and stuff, and we just have a party the rest of us. That'd be really fun. Get a couple artists and do just like a challenge. Or
Yeah,
something.
that'd
A
be
couple
sweet.
giveaways. We have the technology. We can definitely do it.
Hopefully bring in every guest that's ever been.
Just have a one-off.
I'm gonna have to make that room into a little waiting area, a little table with some refreshments.
Look
and
like a
stuff.
doctor's office.
Could be a banjo A that day. Take
Yeah,
him, out of the equation.
We could challenge Paranay in a cornhole competition.
Yeah,
Paranay versus 10 strings.
that'd be good.
It was.
So, I thought he was is there like a top tier like cornhole league?
Oh, I've seen it on ESPN before.
Yeah.
I know there's some
Wonder.
there's some good people. Yeah, I know there's. Yeah, that's
okay,
what it
the
is. The
ACL.
ACL. I've sat there and watched it on ESPN a couple times, and these people.
Well, they're drafted in the teams of 16. And they have the ACL College, ACL Pro Tour. I wonder how this competition stacks up to the Betty Zane Day tour.
I think. Betty Zane's got some good competition down there, but
Betty Zane competition would be a whole lot nicer when it was a basketball tournament.
yeah,
that was.
I wish
that
I wish they still did that.
Yeah.
We're starting to shift it now. It's like Slick kind of picked up that mantle, moving it down there to Belair.
Yeah,
You guys played in
we
there.
played in it last year.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
It was
What,
awesome.
do they have it during the Fireman's Festival? Is that what?
No, it was like I think it was like their own thing.
It was their own
It was like
thing.
a
Oh,
2-day, like tournament down at Belair Park, and he had like food vendors and all that stuff there. I mean, it wasn't huge, but it was only his
Nice.
second year, and it was so fun. He had
Did Coach Sab speak at it? Was that the event that I saw?
It could have been. I think he had a few speakers.
yeah, maybe.
Okay,
I know they had like a rap competition too.
I know
some of his like
he does events with that Rick Lay, who does the RL strength conditioning and has events like
Yeah.
that. That might have been the flyer I saw.
it was fun. I mean, there was teams from like there was some guys that played overseas, like some former D1 college basketball players. A team came from like Pittsburgh, another one came from like Cincinnati or something. I mean, there was only like 8 or 10 teams, but I mean, it was good competition. It was fun. You had
You
people
played
just-
in it?
Yeah, we played.
Yeah.
I think we got like 3rd or 4th or something, but it was fun. I mean, it wore me out because we lost the first day to a team that made the finals, and we had to play like 4 straight games on the second day. I'm like, oh, I'm not in shape for this. But no, it was a good time.
It's awesome that he does it in his dad's name. Keep his dad's name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that's definitely the one
Uncle
I saw.
D.
Yeah.
That's definitely the one I saw. The flyer for it.
Yeah, it was real cool. Because I know there'd be people they'd bring up lawn chairs and they just sit in there and watch. And
I just remember when the Ferry did it. It was like when N1 was just becoming a thing. And I
Yeah.
remember everybody was just waiting to scream. You know,
Yeah.
everybody was waiting for some move to get hit to start screaming.
because I remember just like riding by and you'd see like you couldn't see into the court
Yeah.
because people would just line the fence and stand up on the hill and watch. But yeah, I'm glad some like because basketball is like you can't really play pickup like tackle football really.
Yeah.
Like you can play flag, which is fun and stuff, but like basketball, you can play for however long you really want, and it's cool to have like tournaments and stuff like that around it. Mm-hmm. And that if, like Silk said, the fact that he made it in his dad's name is pretty sweet too. That he can keep that alive and going, and it was a good event.
I think I asked this. You guys might have been on the episode, but what's been your favorite place to play pickup around the area of any kind of sport? Mine's probably just your house
Yeah,
on
we
the
used
hill.
to do that on the hill in the
a whole
driveway
childhood,
since
yeah.
we were little.
Depends if it's indoor or outdoor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Outdoor, I'd say Shady Side.
Shady Side had some nice courts.
It used to Martin's Ferry used to be the spot for outdoor.
Yeah.
I mean that we the park used to be like
Yeah.
insane, you know. And it's a shame what it's turned into now.
Yeah, it's a real shame.
Because I remember when I was like younger, they would always have like runs at the rec center too.
Yeah,
And I'd always like show up. I mean,
Yeah.
I was only high school. We'd show up, and do a little bit, but now it's kind of like St. John's. We go and
yeah.
we hoop every there once in a while. But I remember in Yorkville, we went a couple
like
times.
Yorkville.
Yorkville was nice. They redid that, like the pavement stuff
Yeah.
too, so it's nice.
I played a pickup game down Yorkville with TT. And it was
Yeah.
funny because it was everybody was younger than us, and we were the only ones that were stretching before the game. I'm like, we hit it, buddy. We're at that stage. We're all getting limbered up. My least favorite pickup spot is definitely, and I'm not worried about losing their business, is Lansing Community Center, just
gosh.
playing on linoleum flooring. That's when I
Yeah.
snapped my ankle.
Linoleum, and it was Kyle snapped his ankle there too.
Yeah.
It was like dusty, and it was a full court shot. It was like a half court shot. There was no 3-point line on the corners.
Yeah, my body has never been more sore after a game of non-contact.
It was
than
horrible.
playing on that flooring.
Sliding your knees and ankles are gonna
Yeah.
be sore after that.
Memorial Park has some good courts and fields if you're
Yep.
doing football or, in our case, frisbee.
Yeah, because they have that frisbee golf course, don't they?
Yeah, I'm
Memorial
just
Park.
talking about just flat field in general for
Oh,
ultimate. Yeah, they there's one in Memorial Park, frisbee golf course, and then there's one on the island, and then I think there's one in Brilliant.
Is
I
there one in
think.
Brilliant?
Yeah, I've never been to that one, but I remember the one time we played at the island one. Cusick was borrowing my frisbee and immediately threw it into the river. It was just like a shot that you have to curve to the left. You have to curve to the left because if not, you're going into the river.
He went straight to the river.
And he has that shot where like it'll go like this for the longest time. You don't know where it's going to go, and it finally went in the river. And he refused to get in, so I had to swim. I had to take my clothes off and swim because those frisbees are pretty expensive. We were playing with the actual ultimate
the
ones.
actual ones, yeah.
Yeah. We were talking about the Wheeling Miners. I'm going to bring them up.
I'm excited.
We have Coach Rez coming in this week for an interview.
I'm excited.
And I did see that they are doing a lot of youth flag football programs now.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, coming into this season.
That'd be sweet. Because I know I only went to like, I think it was just their championship game last year, but they're like, it's a cool environment. I mean, it's nice to have something to be able to go to and hang out with.
So if what's cool about this team is they're
local.
They're looking at local talent. And Coach Rez said on the last interview last year that normally with arena teams, you have your hitters that are national. You know who they are around the country. So when you get a job at an arena team such as this, you'll just reach out and you'll negotiate with them, fly them out or something. Yeah. And he said with this team, they're making it a real point to look at the all the practices and the workouts that they have to look.
I mean, just on that page right there, you see 3 Wheeling guys, 3 Wheeling University,
yeah,
couple Columbus people, Pittsburgh,
Brandon Munoz from West Liberty, Isaiah Robinson. That name is very, very familiar.
Another Wheeling guy, another Wheeling. I mean, that's 5-6 Wheeling people. And I think that's a good way to get people to come to games.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you could have saw them play college or high school ball, or their family's local, something like that. You can get people in the seats, and you get names out there. I mean,
then there's your buddy Grant Russell.
Yeah, my old roommate.
What's his living tendencies? Like, what did he do that's annoying? Like, did he not like?
I'll tell you exactly what it was. I'll call him out on it too. So it was me and another offensive lineman. He's about my size. So we were both like 6'7", 300 pounds.
Uh-huh.
And we had Grant. I mean, he's not a small guy. He's
and
then we had a safety. Grant and our safety Trey. did not like the rooms cold when we slept. Me and the lineman, we love the rooms cold. I mean, we're big guys. We don't want to be sweating when we're sleeping.
Yeah.
So there's multiple times, like, throughout the night, everyone go to bed. We'd walk, me and the offensive lineman, Ethan, we would meet in the middle room and be like, at the same time, be like, it's too hot. We'd look, thermostat, we'd crank it down to like 68. They'd wake up with hoodies on. The thermostat was a fight. It was a fight. But
You're a cold sleeper, huh?
Yeah, I love you got to have a chill. That's why you can cuddle up with the blanket. But I take it, he was a heck of a player. He was good guy.
And a lot of returning players from last year too, which is crazy because most of them are on year contracts.
Yeah, so I mean that's nice to see. Well, it's good for like the fans and stuff, for familiar faces and
prices went up ticket wise, but I think the whole production in general, the whole league, the whole like competition, everything's going up.
Yeah,
and I think like if you had to compare it, now I mean this is kind of off a little bit, but they're kind of at that level of the Rough Riders. When they came around, as far as like production and league behind them.
Because I know last year, I mean, it was good to have him back, but like I was talking to you earlier, I went to the championship game and they won 70, like it was like 70-14. Like it was still a cool thing to see, and there was a lot of big hits and big plays, but it was like, as a fan, you kind of want to see them like last possession games, like on the edge of your seat type stuff. And hopefully this year you'll get to, because they went up a league, you'll get to see more of those tight, close games, which will be fun to watch.
Yeah. I always hear about Carolina Cobras, and I heard about them last season among like the players and coaches. That's like another big team to watch in this league.
Top guy.
And Coach Rez might have coached them for a while too, because I know he's from Carolina.
Well, I know you said he's been around coaching everywhere.
My friend Tim McCormick, he did the emceeing at the closest game that they had that season. His voice was hoarse just because he's like he tried to show up for the city.
Yeah,
and scream it. It's funny. Shout out to Tim. He texted me, and I don't normally like audibly laugh at texts when I get him, but he there was a murder mystery that went down at the Waterfront Hall in Wheeling, and they needed another actor, so he played an actor. But it was like it was mafia style, like bootlegger era type stuff, and he had to play a corpse, and he had to play a corpse with his buddy who also works at Waterfront Hall. And the way I guess they had him was in the elevator he said a scissor position, and he said for 20 minutes they had to just ride up and down this elevator as it's closing and opening in this position, acting like a corpse. Couldn't do anything. It was so funny. Just imagining, like I couldn't imagine.
Just picturing opening the elevator door and that's what you see.
I saw on Facebook a picture of him, like his corpse, and he said like he had a quote like it's bad things happen to good people or something like that, but. The first thing I thought of was like, how long did you have to lay in that position? Because it looked so uncomfortable, just in this like L, but scissoring your buddy. And this, oh man! At least the elevator door is open.
Yeah,
moving there. We're getting hot off the topic of sports.
That's all right.
Typed in sports news. It came right to the Wheeling Miners.
Hot topic.
Michigan.
Oh, wow.
QB Sanders won't work out at Combine.
I seen he said he was going to do the pro day. That Colorado pro day.
Instead of the Combine?
Yeah.
That's Deion's son?
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of quarterbacks past couple years been opting out of a lot of Combine stuff.
Do you think the University of Colorado is going to make it like the long haul?
They're bringing in
with the system.
They're bringing in.
They're
bringing in some good guys. Honestly, I think it depends on Deion.
Yeah.
If he gets a better offer for like I'm not saying Colorado is not a good school, but like they're not if you think of top programs football wise, you don't really think of Colorado. But if he gets offered that, or even I heard this year, it didn't end up happening, but there was a lot of rumors going around him being the Cowboys' new coach.
Really?
If he gets like a pro offer or something like that, and he leaves, I mean,
now is Garrett still in with the Cowboys? Whereas Garrett's been out for a while.
Yeah,
Jason Garrett, he's been out. He's been out for about 7 years.
he's behind the mic right now.
Okay. That's right. That's right. I did see him behind. Like, that's so funny. That's like, what's his face? In one of the first episodes we did, I was like, where do you think so-and-so's winning the draft? She's like, yeah, the draft was 2 months ago.
Yeah, it was.
I think Colorado's over exceeded expectations though with
Did ya?
Dion there.
I agree.
They were a 1-win team when he got there, and now they're like a national, talking piece every year.
Mm-hmm.
And heck, last year they were close to winning the Big 12.
Yeah,
Like they were right. I think it was
almost
like,
made the playoffs.
Yeah, 1 or 2 games away from making the playoffs.
Yeah, they'll actually the last like 2 games of the year.
I can't wait.
But I don't think he'd be my bad. I didn't mean
No,
to
you're
cut
good. He just brought up women's basketball. I'm like, I just can't wait for March Madness.
I was just watching
Start
the
up.
women's game before we got
Were
here.
you?
Really?
But I don't think that Dion would be as an effective coach in the NFL as he would in college. I think he touches these kids' paws in a different way, then he would be able to get through the NFL guys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he's teaching these kids, too, about branding and everything that comes with him being there, too.
Yeah, I was just watching. I watched that game. Just
The NC State Notre Dame game.
Yeah, it was a good game. I think Olivia Miles could have got a better shot before the second overtime.
Oh, it went to 2 overtimes.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if you guys had to put money on March Madness and both women's and men's, who would you put on now? Is it too early to call with for March?
I mean, there's only about a week or 2 left, and then they usually have the conference tournaments, and then March Madness usually starts. But honestly, men's, I have no clue because I know Auburn's really good, Duke's good, but it's like I don't see like that dominant team that's just like who knows, like they're just gonna they're gonna be there.
Right.
Like they could get upset at any time. Like the last couple of years, like UConn's good, they're gonna be. But this year, I mean, if Duke plays like they have been the last couple of games, they're gonna be tough to beat.
Honestly, don't even watch the men's side. I only watch the women's side of college basketball.
That's what because I coached the middle school. That's what I try to tell my kids. I'm like, try not to watch NBA, or if you want to watch good basketball, watch women's college basketball, because you're not going up dunking on people and stuff like that. That's how you have to play is like them, and some of those, like you have the USC with Juju and Beckers from UConn. They're so talented. It's crazy.
That 6, 7, 8 spot right there. I mean, they could take out any one of those top teams.
Yep. Nope.
TCU could take out a top team. But I really like USC and Notre Dame. Those are my 2 favorites.
USC and Notre Dame. I haven't seen too much women's basketball, but
You can't count LSU out though. They got 3-4 returning starters that were really good from last year. They came back. That Williams, Falage.
Oh yeah, she's good.
Mora. So
I see that Ohio State has less wins, but it's still ranked number 8. What's the issue with that?
They just have
some favoritism.
Just some quality wins. They beat some good teams.
conference play.
Yeah.
They're good though. I mean, they got to play USC. They got to play UCLA, who was undefeated up until USC beat them the other day.
I know, like, Michigan State's girls are pretty good.
Yeah.
Maryland usually is good. Yeah, that's what's so cool about, like, usually, like, pro sports, you have your favorites. Usually there's an upset here or there. But, like, last year is kind of like, well, it's probably going to be the Celtics and one of the Western teams. And this year it's like, it could be 2 or 3 teams this side, 2 or 3 teams this side. Right. College, you never know. And I think it's kind of cooler to see because, like, NBA basketball, it's a 7-game series. You have a bad game, who cares? Come back next day.
Yeah.
You have a bad game, you're done.
It's only one?
It's one and done, which makes it so much more, like, intense. Because you just think about, like, Kentucky the last couple of years, they were 2 seed, 3 seed, and they had one bad game, or the other team had one great shooting game, they're done. And it's
Yeah.
that's what you never know in March Madness what's going to happen. There's going to be an upset somewhere. Somebody's going to make a run.
That's a good mindset you have that you're telling them, like, watch the women's, because, yeah, you're not setting yourselves up for dunks. You know what I
No.
mean? You're trying to set yourself up for shots.
You're
and-
8th grade kids. You're not going to be dunking the basketball right
How
now.
far did you guys get? Did you win?
We won the championship.
I was gonna say,
we ended up winning
yeah,
the
you won the
championship.
championship.
Up at UL.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Is that UL?
Yeah,
Is that
we
the
had
one
at the UL tournament. But yeah, that's the women's game. If you want to learn basketball, I feel like NBA. I mean, it's fun to watch, but it's a lot of ISO and guys that you're
Yeah.
probably never going to get anywhere near their talent level. And even like D1 men's basketball,
Yeah.
those guys are crazy athletic.
Yeah, I could. If you spend a day just watching women's basketball, you can kind of get a feel for the game. As like,
Yeah.
say, if you put me in front of the TV and watch the men's and ask me like what I took from it, like get the ball to Durant.
Yeah,
You know, that's what-
get the
that's
ball
what
to
it's
the
about.
get the ball to the stars. Where
Yeah.
women's they do that, but you learn like a lot more. They you can't just throw alley oops and run and dunks and all
Yeah.
that. It's more of
Fundamental.
spacing, fundamentals, dribbling, shooting, cutting, all that type stuff. And it's
aesthetically pleasing.
yes,
It's a lot more
as like if you like understand and know basketball. Like
Right.
I usually don't watch like the first couple rounds of the women's but like the Sweet 16 of that, you get good matchups and it's some good basketball to watch.
I don't know where Iowa was in those standings too, but they're pretty decent this
Iowa?
year too. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's actually a WNBA. I don't know if it's marketed as a WNBA, but they have their own season going on right now. It's like
Okay.
it's like an off season.
Oh,
season.
really?
Yeah,
That's
it's
kinda cool.
Yeah, they're
Because I know, like, back, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, I didn't really watch women's college basketball because it was UConn's going to win it every year.
Yeah.
Like, now there's like 10, 12, 14 teams that you wouldn't be surprised
right.
to win it. Where back then it was UConn or Notre Dame or UConn or Baylor when they had Brittany Griner.
South Carolina had
South
it for a couple
Carolina.
years. Yeah.
But now it's like anybody, there's a good chunk of teams you wouldn't be surprised to win it.
I think we covered all the sports, gentlemen. Unless you get down on NASCAR, do you ever partake?
I've never really went. I feel like it'd be very fun to go to a NASCAR like race. I know
Yeah.
Cusick talks about it all the time, but
They said it's like camping out at like Valley View.
Yeah.
So that'd be up my
I
alley.
just can't sit down and watch it on TV. It's like you're just watching a car go in circles. I don't understand it, but
One time I went up to Scott's like for a Sunday dinner, and he was describing me the science behind it. I'm like, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
I just
That's a couple hours you can't get back.
yeah, it is funny though. Like when you see the highlights, like they'll just be decking each other
Yeah.
sometime, like on pit road or like whatever that's called, the victory lap or victory road.
it's
The funniest thing I've ever seen of NASCAR was it was just a ESPN interview with Kyle Busch, and the camera's on him, and he was going, everybody is thinking the same thing. What's Kyle Busch going to do? He keeps like saying himself in the third person. I'm like, wow.
it,
Well, guys, probably cut it right there.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for coming in for this other show on TST. We do more than just serious artist interviews. We do some where we're just hanging out. Look for 2-year stream coming. Look for different streams coming out. We just have to kind of pick a day, pick an idea.
yep.
Man, thanks for tuning in.